I've turned them on to it, and you can get it now, $19.99. Start enjoying movies. Stop paying for cable. Stop paying for all these subscriptions. Get it all in one place because it's already on the internet. It already streams anyways. This intelligently finds it for you. You sift through all the movies or type in a title. There it is. Bada bing, bada boom, $19.99 for thepeopleshow.com. Start enjoying it. Now, we talked about scenarios, eventualities. And this program for years has talked about preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. Now, there are issues with our power grid that Chuck has tried to bring to Congress, but yet our power grids are not protected from EMP, whether it be from the sun, be it from magnetic pulse, from enemies, or what have you. So I promised that I would give consumer updates from time to time and things to think about, sensible things in case your power should go out. Now, we're in hurricane season, so good chance that you might lose power. So what are some things that you can do that really don't cost money? Now, remember, a power outage could be for a few hours, maybe a minor inconvenience, but if the situation could get worse, well, it could get a little scary when the lights go out for days or even weeks on end. Natural disasters, folks, have kept people without power for such a long period that they've managed to prevail. And how have they done it? Well, here it is. One of the things that I have said that is a must, no matter what, is to have and own an emergency radio. You need to pick up one. You can get them for real cheap. You got to make sure they work and they're on the right channels. You got to read the directions to make sure you're on the right channel for your area so the thing actually works, and you got to keep fresh batteries in it. But emergency radio, an emergency alert system that you can have that runs on batteries, just like your smoke detector, you got to put some batteries in this thing. First thing it's recommended is don't panic. I know it's easier said than done, but they said don't panic. If the lights go out for a long period of time, remember that people not too long ago lived just fine without electrical power. Many people continue to do so for fun when camping or hiking, so friends and family in the same situation can help each other get through it. Just think of it like camping out. Now, the other thing you got to worry about is protecting your food. So if the power goes out, staying fed, remember it's no fun to go hungry, especially if the darkness lingers on. You got to keep your refrigerator and freezer doors closed as much as possible the day the power goes out. Now, this is the advice from the American Red Cross. You got to use food from the refrigerator first, then from the freezer, which can keep foods up to 48 hours. But afterwards, use non-perishable foods. You got to store food in a cooler with ice when it appears the power outage will last more than a day. Use candles carefully, but candles can really burn down your house, and candles causes hundreds of fires a year when left unattended. It happens all the time. So you may want to have plenty of flashlights, and LED lighting is so cheap and it's so bright, but you got to have them, and there's no excuse to not have LED lights that run on battery power in your house. And some of you actually have it on kitchen, where your backsplash has LEDs, and you didn't want to wire it up with wires, so they use batteries, and they're just as bright, and they look just as pretty. And you can go to the Home Depot, you can go to Lowe's, you can even go to Walmart, and you get that kind of stuff. Make sure you have adequate lighting, and LED lighting is absolutely a beautiful thing. Yeah, people use the LED lighting, accent lighting, but you can use that for emergency lighting, and it's great. The other thing is you want to have alternate power sources, battery-operated gadgets. They're going to keep you in contact with the world. Now, prepare to use battery packs and plenty of AA or AAA batteries for radios and flashlights and other necessities. But remember, a car battery can be a good source of power, too. A cigarette lighter adapter can also charge up various gadgets, such as your cell phone. Keep hydrated. It's recommended a gallon of drinking water is needed for each person each day. Plenty of water, folks. So fill up the tub or buckets when it appears the power may be off for a long time, because it could affect the water supply if you don't have a well. Maybe your pump's off. Collect rainwater if possible. Water is also needed for cleaning dishes and washing. The other thing, remain active. They say exercise is important for body and mind. Turn to board games and cards to occupy the time with your family and friends. Communicate with your neighbors. I know, that's a tough one. Cooking with outside grills connects neighbors with each other. Maintaining a strong relationship with neighbors at this time comes in handy to share thoughts and ideas on survival methods if the lights stay out for a very long time. Good advice. Good advice. And some of you, this is rudimentary. You know, it's, oh my God, you didn't teach me anything. I learned that in the Boy Scouts. Well, you'd be surprised. A refresher course goes a long way. And if you don't know these particular things, you might make a mistake. And several of them. But again, having these handy and ready, because we just never know. I live in Florida. We're looking at a front now that might barrel into us the next week or so. And if that happens, I'm going to be ready with all of these things and to stay safe, because there's a good bet if this does hit us, and we are kind of like in a mixing bowl situation here in Tampa, Florida, like in New Orleans. Back in 2004, if you can remember, we had a back-to-back-to-back hurricanes, and thank God, knock on, we haven't had anything serious like that since, but there's the good chance, and we're reminded, because of the active Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico all heated up like this, you know, it could be our year. I hope not, but somebody's going to get walloped, and somebody in the listening area that we cover certainly could heed that advice, and if anything, you could pass on this information to some of your loved ones. It's very, very important to make sure, maybe even have a nice discussion with them to see. And you know what? Not a bad discussion to have with your own family. Sit down at the table, and it may not be the most comfortable situation, but maybe a nice little starter would be to shut the lights out and have dinner with candlelight. And then say there's a reason why we're having this, and it may not be for romance, but you could make it romantic if you're just with your loved one, your girlfriend or your wife or fiance, etc. But if it's, you know, not a traditional thing that you do too often, maybe for holidays you do, but you shut the lights out completely after food's cooked, and you sit there in the dark with candlelight. It's actually very beautiful. To me, it's very relaxing, and it's classy, I think. But you could talk about how you would fare without electricity, and to see if you actually have things in your house that are ready for it. If you're not, well, get ready. Being prepared is a smart thing. Being prepared. Preparedness is number one. Just be ready, folks. Just a thought for you, passing that on. You know, this is, again, more of our common sense that we just pass out daily basis. And these are things that I think about, and I know that many folks across the country have done these very things, and redundancy is a big thing. They'll pick up a few extra cans here and there, extra water when they can. And, well, some of you don't have the extra pantry space, so it's kind of a little difficult. But behind a couch, under a bed, you know, maybe there's a corner in the garage where we can stack up some water there. It's not a bad idea, but there you go. Yeah. Some nice deals. Yeah, nice consumer tips for you. All right, here is a state that is doing something to me unbelievable. Oregon in the news, and I'm not very happy with them. They've passed, here it is, the nation's most progressive abortion bill, which basically requires state insurers to provide free abortions for all, including illegal immigrants. That's right. Governor Kate Brown, a Democrat, signed the historic health bill this past Tuesday. You didn't hear, did you? After the legislator approved it in July, and it would require Oregon insurance companies, you heard it, to flip the bill for the procedures. All on the taxpayer dime. The $10.2 million bill takes effect immediately, which allocating $500,000 for abortions for the estimated 22,873 women. You heard that. Estimated 22,873 women eligible under the Oregon Health Bill. And this is according to the Washington Times, and they reported that this will include abortions for immigrants who are otherwise ineligible under the state's Medicaid program. Now, I say opponents argue that the bill will force people who morally object to abortions to assume some of the cost. They also predicted that lawsuits will quickly follow, don't you think? Arguing that new law violates the Weldon Amendment, a 2004 congressional provision that prohibits health and human service funds for states that discriminate against health care providers that refuse to cover abortions. Providence Healthcare, a nonprofit Catholic care provider, says that there's also they're the only insurer operating in Oregon that does not cover abortions. Will have its expenses reimbursed by the state. Two other states, California and New York, also require state insurers to cover abortion. Even the Catholics. You know, it is interesting that the Pope doesn't even say anything about that one. But it is amazing. There was a time where that would never, ever be. And people would not put up with it. We've come a long way, folks, where people just say, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. Bury your head in the sand and it's done, and it is law in the land, and just let them get away with it. I still think it's wrong. Despite what anybody else might think, I still think it's wrong. Morally, ethically, religiously, I think it's just wrong. And we should be flipping the bill for that, allow them to be able to kill babies? I don't think so. Governor Kate Brown, unbelievable. But this is the left. They think that that's nothing wrong with it. We should pay for illegal immigrants. We should pay for anybody. And then we should go ahead and sell the parts to makeup companies or to anybody else that's researching. They don't just throw that stuff away, folks. By the way, what are they throwing away? You know who it is. It's a baby. And they still abort babies that are 5, 6, 7 months. Nothing wrong with them. Plenty of families that would love to adopt them. Cute. But this is crazy. It is the most progressive abortion bill yet. Again, requiring the state of Oregon insurers to provide free abortions for all. Free. You heard it. Free. No repercussions. No repercussions. Oops. I can get a free abortion. And Mr. Taxpayer, Mrs. Taxpayer, you got to pay for it. Because somebody was inconvenienced. Why can't people just take responsibility? Be responsible for what you do with your body so you don't end up in that situation to begin with. Oh, but that exercises self-control. I see. So the baby has to pay for it. Believe me, I believe that there's going to be a strong reckoning when it comes to that. And I would not want to stand up in your shoes for the Lord God and give an answer to why I did that.